Today on the Graphical Evolution, we're going to be taking a look at a personal favorite of mine, Socom US Navy SEALs. The only game in the series that I cannot include anything outside of the trailer is Socom Confrontation on the PS3. For those of you who may not know, Socom Confrontation was an online multiplayer-only game, much like Titanfall, MAG, or whatever else is out there. Confrontation servers were shut down on January 28, 2014. Ironically, MAG servers were shut down the exact same day. That means that these games are no longer playable because the developers felt the need to not include any sort of offline multiplayer against bots. So people, if you do ever come across stores or garage sales, flea markets, whatever, trying to sell Confrontation, or MAG for that matter, please do yourself a favor and do not buy them. They are in every aspect of the word unplayable. Right, so let's get started with the first Socom. Here's the problem with talking about the graphics for the first game. A vast majority of the levels take place at night, so you're not able to pick up the graphical details like you would if, say, the levels took place during the day. When you do get to play one of the few levels that takes place during the day, you start to notice just how much effort the developmental team put into designing the levels. In fact, the one level that I'm showing you now is probably the best example I can provide. Everything seemed to have been designed and placed so carefully and so meticulously that it brings the whole atmosphere together. I haven't played any of these old Socom games since I bought my PS3 back when it first came out, but coming back and replaying them all these years later really brings back a lot of great memories. The cutscenes aren't all that great, and I think it's because they absolutely just do not age well. The problem is the aspect ratio is just bizarre, and then you have the obvious amounts of fuzziness going on in the picture here. I should point out that a lot of games back then did have cutscenes looking like this, so it's not like it's anything new. I can't really complain too much about it either, because like I said, that's just how it was. Socom 2 had more levels that took place during the day, so you can see more of the details and textures that you couldn't really make out in the original game. Not only that, but even the dark levels in Socom 2 look much better. They changed the lighting so that it is actually much easier to see everything around you without having to stick strictly to the night vision. Personally, this is my favorite Socom of the bunch, right with Combined Assault being a close second. I love the way it looks, both with the graphics and the level design. The gameplay for me was the most memorable, and I flat out love it in every aspect. Socom 2's cutscenes? What to say about them? Well, I'll just be straight out with it. I do not like how they look in this game. Everything looks so weird and blocky, the lighting is strange, and the character models look almost, I guess, corpse-like. I don't even know if that makes any sense. I don't know, I just think it looks terrible. Honestly, I prefer the cutscenes from the first game over this. Yeah, they were blurry, but you know what? I can tolerate blurriness over this crap. These cutscenes, thankfully, only take place at the start of each chapter, while the rest of the time you get these in-game cutscenes looking like this. Moving on, we have Socom 3. You know, I really don't notice any graphical changes at all in this game versus the second one. Maybe there are improvements somewhere, like in the character models, lighting, or foliage textures. I don't know. Like I said, I don't see it. What they did improve drastically is the cutscenes. Technically, at the time this came out, these cutscene graphics would be considered somewhat dated, but at least they don't look like crap. Much like with Socom 2, these cutscenes only happen once in a blue moon at the start of each chapter, and then the rest of the game you get the in-game stuff. As for the game itself, I think it's great. The gameplay is a little bit different compared to the other two in the sense that not every single mission is solely focused on 100% stealth. They decided to change things up a little by including a handful of levels where you're going in charging at the enemy with loud guns in a more fast-paced, loud, aggressive-like setting. I really liked the change. It kept the game fresh and exciting. It didn't feel like you were playing the same exact game with different levels, guns, or whatever else. And that's not something you hear all that often these days. Next up is Socom Combined Assault. I'm not exactly sure what this game is meant to be. meaning that I don't think it's a spin-off. I actually believe it's more like an expansion to SOCOM 3, but I'm not 100% sure. I guess if anything, it would make sense that it would be an expansion because the gameplay is very similar to SOCOM 3's. I don't know, I felt like including Combined Assault in this video because why not? If I had a PSP 2000 with the cables, I would have included the PSP SOCOM games as well, but I don't have one, so yeah. Now the graphics, I hate to say this, but they are the exact same as both SOCOM 3 and 2. Again, like I said when I was talking about the previous game, maybe there are some improvements to the graphics in some area. I just can't see it. And the same goes for the cutscenes. They look pretty much exactly the same as SOCOM 3's. I should point this out. For you guys watching this on YouTube, it's most likely going to be impossible to make out graphical differences between SOCOM 2, 3, and Combined Assault, because YouTube drops the quality on uploaded videos. I have no idea why, considering Daily Motion's never dropped quality on my stuff when I upload there. Oh well, I guess it really doesn't matter. I do have a question for you guys though. Do you think it's possible that the reason the developers didn't make any noticeable graphical changes to the later installments on the PS2 might be because they were already pushing the system to its limits? I was asking myself this question while I was playing Combined Assault, and I don't know, because there are quite a lot of PS2 and Xbox games for that matter that do look better than this. So if I had to answer my own question just simply based off of other games that I've played on this system, I would most likely say no, the developers for whatever reason didn't bother. Maybe they were being lazy, or maybe it was something else, who knows. Then we have our final game in the series, SOCOM 4. The game itself doesn't even feel like a SOCOM game. It plays completely different. The older games had gameplay that would be considered somewhat slow-paced. Yes, of course there were missions that had some fast-paced action going on, but it wasn't that often. In SOCOM 4, it seems like every mission is fast-paced, and I would go as far as to say the game plays like an arcade shooter. Some people even say that SOCOM 4 feels as if it was meant to be like a third-person version of Call of Duty. People compare games of all kinds to Call of Duty. I mean, it doesn't even have to be a shooter. That being said, I do have to kinda agree with those people. It does sort of feel like Call of Duty, but mixed with Tom Clancy's Graw. Regardless of all that, I can honestly say that I really like the graphics in this game a lot. Certain effects like smoke and fire are surprisingly well done. I've seen fire effects on the damn PS4 and Xbox One that look worse than this. There is one complaint that I have, and it can be considered as nitpicky, but I want to explain anyway. When you are navigating through vegetation, such as like the plants, grasses, bushes, whatever, it all just clips right through your character. You don't flatten them down or brush them aside, they simply don't react whatsoever. Yes, I'm aware that this is a thing on the older SOCOM games, however, it's 2011, and the technology for this sort of thing has been out for many, many years. Again, yes, you can say I'm being nitpicky. Either way, I can't help but think it looks like shit. Outside of that, like I said, I enjoyed the graphics. I love the way the environments look, both in terms of color design and the lighting. The textures, details, and even the shadowing all look well done. The cutscenes are obviously a huge improvement compared to the PS2 games. For 2011, I would say that they look perfectly fine. I heard one reviewer complain and say the cutscene graphics look dated and horrible. I don't agree with that one bit. I would say that they're pretty much on par with other games that came out around the same time as this did. With that said, that brings us towards the end of this video. The sad thing is, Zipper Interactive, who was the developer for all the SOCOM games outside of Confrontation and 2 of the PSP games, went defunct in 2012. The developer who made these games instead was called Slant 6 Games. However, they went out of business in 2013. So unless another developer takes the reins of the SOCOM series, we probably won't ever see another installment again. I have no idea how this sort of thing works, if the developer has to go to Sony to get permission to make a new SOCOM game, or if there's some other way about it. I do still have hopes that one day we'll see a SOCOM 5, and see it made by a developer who knows what they're doing. Until next time, guys, thanks for watching, and take care.